There are not many women in the room, so if I may, I'd like to put two questions to the panelists. I'm with the Ecomedia group, i.e. The Economist and other publications. First question to Mr. Darvish. The concentration of wealth. What about wealth for medium-income groups? What could you say regarding the need to reallocate income? And one more question to the regulators. I hear small bankers, there are still a few of them in the world, say that Basel III means the end of the job of bankers. They don't always say rubbish, those people, do they? So, if they do not imply systemic risks, as they don't have a decision-making process that are the same as the ones in banks, shouldn't we make a difference between Basel III ratios for small financial institutions, where management is still responsible, and the others? Thank you.
On y va. Oui, votre première question, moi je pense que c'est une question vraiment importante quand on regarde le comportement.
I think the first question is essential. When you look at wealth distribution throughout the decades, throughout past decades, there was a whole period that was the golden age of capitalism, has been called. So it was a great increase in output and productivity, and as a consequence, households' income also soared in Europe, in the US, and throughout the world. But then, as of the 80s, we saw concentration. There was an increase of output that continued, even accelerated at the end of the 80s in the US, but there's far less distribution of wealth. It's really concentrated in the highest income brackets, and this reminds us of the situation in the 20s. Well, I don't want to enter into the ethical dimension. We could, of course, wish for fair distribution. The question is whether or not the distribution of wealth, not in all countries, but in many countries, in the US, for example, is this not another challenge for macroeconomic policy? Because, well, we need to look at this in greater detail, but it may actually be cause a structural problem, a sustainable demand. There's a problem of sustainability and there's a problem of volatility, because demand from the highest income households is extremely volatile. There are a number of reasons, technological changes, trade, globalization. There's no simple solution to the problem. But there's a feeling that fiscal monetary policy in its traditional form is somewhat powerless to tackle the challenge. So I think that this is how the problem can be depicted. We don't have the time to go into all the details, but I do think the issue should be raised more often. Thank you, Kamal. And what about the smaller banks? Well, with regard to what you just said, I'm really struck, Kamal, by the fact that, yes, indeed, there are really deep-lying reasons for these gaps, this divide when it comes to wealth, disparities in terms of technology, and they just make the inequalities worse because of technology. But there's also a problem when it comes to values. If you compare, for example, Japan and the US, there's striking difference between wages, salaries in these countries, the packages that executives receive at the highest levels. In the US, in fact, well, there are very many very wealthy people who redistribute some wealth to foundations, to charitable organizations. So it's clearly a question of values and ethics, and in our democracies, I think it's of the essence. And we are at a crossroads, I think. As far as Basel III is concerned, there is a distinction made by Basel III, and this is an ongoing project, between systemic banks and small banks. Moreover, the Basel rules are a minimum set threshold, and so systemic banks, following decisions taken by supervisory authorities, may have to meet requirements that go beyond that threshold. So I really think we have to achieve balance in the medium and long term, and also ensure a smooth transition. In 2010, well, we are in 2010, the new Basel III regulations will come into force only in 2019. Or at least will only be fully implemented by then. So this gives us quite a bit of time, and therefore all the stakeholders are eager to find a compromise, a balance between a robust system and stimulating the economy and not jeopardizing
just one comment on
economic growth.
Une observation concernant ces disparités ou ces inégalités économiques. Pour ce qui est de l'Asie, vous le savez peut-être, le Japon s'est développé très rapidement dans les années 50 et 60, taux de croissance de 10% au moins. La répartition de la richesse s'est améliorée. Et puis les tigres, la Corée et Hong Kong, Singapour et Taïwan, les quatre tigres, ont eux aussi connu un développement, un essor très rapide avec des taux de croissance de 10% dans les années 1970, les années 80 et 90. Et là encore, la répartition des richesses s'est améliorée. Cela dit, depuis lors, et cela vaut aussi pour le Japon, ainsi que pour les quatre tigres mentionnés, les inégalités se sont accentuées de nouveau. Il y a eu un retour en arrière. Comme vous le savez, l'Inde et la Chine ont aussi connu un essor spectaculaire ces dernières décennies. Et là encore, il y a de gros problèmes en matière de répartition des richesses. Un véritable fossé entre ceux qui ont de gros revenus et ceux qui ont de très faibles revenus. Bon, cela ne vaut pas seulement pour l'Asie, mais pour le monde entier. La répartition des richesses est de moins en moins bonne, ne cesse de se dégrader. Il y a bien sûr des composantes sociales, comme M. Trichet l'a mentionné, cela tient aux valeurs, mais il y a forcément une composante technique qui tient au progrès technologique, qui peuvent avoir tendance à encore creuser ce fossé davantage entre les riches et les pauvres. Et la mondialisation peut aussi avoir accentué cette tendance. Il va sans dire que les gouvernements qui se dotent de stratégies et de politiques adéquates peuvent contrer ce phénomène. Mais malheureusement, au cours des dernières décennies, en pratique, la plupart des pays se sont surtout focalisés sur la croissance, comment augmenter la croissance sans forcément prendre des mesures pour faire en sorte que tout le monde soit inclus.